This is where you guys should applaud and go crazy. I'll wait. Dave, I see why you wear these. They are so comfortable. Look at this room, y'all. Look at this room. Look at the people we got here at this party. Yes. Comedians, actors, and musicians are all here for one man. We're all here because Dave brings people together in a way that maybe no one else in the world can. I met Dave over 20 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. Dave, you have always been my mentor, my big brother, and every time I step on stage, every time, I think of you because I've always want to make you proud because you're the GOAT. You know, you're the greatest. What I love about Dave is his spontaneity. My favorite story with Dave was on Christmas, one year after I finished feeding the homeless at the Laugh Factory. I do that every year because I never forget where I came from. Not the Laugh Factory, homeless. Dave called me to meet him for drinks. And when I arrived, I see him there with Marlon Wayans, and I was like, what are y'all fathers doing here on Christmas? Shouldn't y'all be with y'all kids? And Dave said, who are you, Scrooge? Bitch, have a drink. So we laughed and joked till about 1 a.m. And Dave was like, y'all wanna go bowling? And we were like, ain't no bowling alley open on Christmas this late. Like, what you talking about? And he started laughing. He said, do you realize I'm Dave Chappelle? He made a phone call, and then we jumped in his SUV, and then we started going up this hill, and then we pulled up to these huge gates. I mean, huge. I was like, are we finna be bowling at Jurassic Park? We get out the car, go to the door, and guess who opened the door? Guess who opened it? I said gas, bitch, gas. Eddie Murphy opened the door. We was at Eddie Murphy house. We was at Eddie Murphy house. And I was like, and Dave was like, calm down, calm your ass down before we get kicked out. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Axel Foley got a bowling alley. Man, we must have talked and laughed and shared stories for hours. And that's the kind of guy Dave is, just spontaneous. And he's magical, and he's a horrible bowler.
Here in Washington, D.C. Yeah. I was 19, he was 17. We were doing a gig at a club called Garvin's. And I remember Dave and I went to McDonald's between shows, and we talked about comedy and his future, what his future plans were gonna be. And I said, come to New York City. And after he graduated high school, he did. And he came to New York, and we worked at the same comedy club, the Boston Comedy Club. And, all right. I know it's a little confusing. It was a club in New York City called the Boston Comedy Club. Look, I don't come up with the names, cokeheads do. But in New York, Dave was immediately beloved by the stand-up comedy community. And I remember he got a part in the Mel Brooks movie, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and we were all like, Dave made it!
Whoa. Who's the man? Who's the man? Go.
He came back from LA, and he got right on stage to talk about his trip out west and how he finally went to Compton after hearing so much about it. And he was like stunned to see that people there had yards. All the lore of Compton, and people were like mowing their lawns. And of course they were. But there was just like something about that tiny little detail. And that's what he does. He lets himself be surprised by what he learns. And then he takes us with him as he, looks at it from every angle, angles that most of us don't even see.
Isn't it weird how there's a disease that just starts in 1980 and it doesn't kill anybody but niggas, fags, and junkies? Isn't that a fucking amazing coincidence that this disease hates everybody that old white people hate? I think either God is white or the government hid that shit in disco balls.
He's always thinking about stuff, he's examining everything, and he really, he gets in his own world.
Now, this is when I knew I was in a bad neighborhood. You only see this in the worst neighborhoods. Remember, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I look out the window. It was a fucking baby standing on a corner. Look at this. And the baby didn't even look scared. He was just standing there. I mean, it made me sad. It made me sad, really. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to help the baby. I was like, I don't trust you either. I'm sorry. Click. Click.
I remember we were together in Vancouver, and he came over to smoke a joint. And that's exactly what he did. He came over, and he smoked a joint. The whole thing. Like by himself. While pontificating about everything that's wrong with the world. I'll tell you what's wrong with the world. A lack of sharing. I think it's puff, puff, pass, not puff, 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 puff. Dave, can you believe this? You're getting the freaking Mark Twain Prize. You deserve it. It's the right thing. It's actually perfect that you're getting the Mark Twain Prize because you both love using the N-word in your masterpieces.
Why is it that I can say the word nigger with impunity, but I can't say the word faggot? And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigger either. Yes, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Of course I did. I voted for her because I liked what she said vastly better than I liked what he said. But to be honest with you, at that point, that shit was like watching Darth Vader do the I Have a Dream speech. That bitch is mean as hell. She had already Karate Kid swept Bernie Sanders' legs from underneath him. Boy, it was hard voting for that shit. But it was the lesser of the evils. I know you were a Clinton supporter, Miss I am sorry to say like that. It didn't feel bad voting for her, but it didn't feel as good as it should have. She was gonna be our first woman president. They were gonna make coins out of this bitch. And somehow she just missed the dunk. Of course she should have beat him. Of course she should have beat him. You know what voting for her felt like? It was bittersweet. It felt like I was lucky enough to eat Halle Berry's pussy. And whilst I was doing so, she fucking farted in my face, man. Now, you understand, I'd still do it. But boy, I wish she didn't fart in this great nation's face. I voted that day, and then that same day I flew to New York City. I had work. That night I was in a comedy club in New York, and I said to an audience almost exactly what I just said to you. and I didn't know that there was a journalist in the room. And this journalist wrote an article. The headline of the article said, Dave Chappelle is an avid Donald Trump supporter. Yeah, I had no idea the paper said that. And you know how I found out? My wife called me from Ohio the next morning in a goddamn panic. David, what the fuck is going on in New York? I said, I'm being good, but what have you heard? And my wife said, the paper is saying that you're a Donald Trump supporter. I was like, whew. I said, don't worry about that shit, baby. Nobody in their right mind would believe that. And she said, no, David, people believe it. And then she started reading the comments to me. Oh, they were terrible. All these black people calling me all kinds of Uncle Toms and shit. I should tell you, buddy, this is a very serious allegation from one black to another. I was incensed. Uncle Tom? How am I Uncle Tom, nigga? You the one that reads The Observer? Anyway, all this shit goes down, and Saturday night rolls around, and now Trump is the president, and I'm hosting Saturday Night Live. And I didn't really prepare my monologue, I just kind of winged it. And at the end of the monologue, I don't even remember what I said. I said something like, you know, fuck it, like we're historically disenfranchised and we're gonna give him, something about we're gonna give him a chance if he gives us a chance. I don't know what I said, but whatever I said, I really wish I didn't say that shit. It was not worth the trouble. Now I walk into the barber shop and all them black people just be looking at me like, yo, Dave, what's up with your boy? Yo, nigga, yo! Not my boy. Because I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, if you support him or not, any objective person is gonna have to admit that this motherfucker is having a terrible go of it. He really is. We've had presidents before that have done bad jobs, but this shit is worse than a bad job. It's scary to watch. Holy shit, it's like seeing a crack pipe in your Uber driver's passenger seat. The fuck is wrong with this guy? You know, I'm gonna give you a history lesson, because I'm sure this wasn't on your entry exam. But every naturalized American has heard something about what I'm about to tell you. Picture it's the early 50s in the United States. This 14-year-old boy goes down from Chicago to Mississippi to meet his extended family for the first time. He'd never been to Mississippi. And before he went, his mother said to him, very pointedly, she said, if a white man looks you in your eyes in Mississippi, look away. And I don't know what you know about black people from Chicago, but they're not a scared people. Legend has it, he was in front of a convenience store, hanging out with his cousins, having a good time, and a white woman walked out of the store, and he thought she was pretty, and he said, bye, baby, not realizing that he had just made a fatal mistake. 4 days later, a group of adult white men burst into this family's home and snatched a 14-year-old boy out of bed in front of his family that was powerless to stop them, and he was never seen alive again. His name was Emmett Till. They found his body maybe a few days later. It was in a creek, tied to a wheel so it would sink, horribly beaten and bloated. Hideous. And lucky for everybody in America, his mother was a fucking gangster. She was. If you can imagine, in the very midst of a mother's worst nightmare, this woman had the foresight to think about everybody. She said, leave my son's casket open. She said, the world needs to see what they did to my baby. And every publication here in the United States, from Jet Magazine all the way to the New York Times, had this boy's horribly bloated body on its cover. And if our civil rights movement was a car, this boy's dead body was premium gas. This was a very definitive moment in American history where every thinking and feeling person was like, ugh, we gotta do better than this. And they fought beautifully, and here we all are.
Occasionally, we're privileged to examine the craft of one of the acknowledged leaders of a generation. Tonight, as we reach the midway point of our 12th year, is such a night. Our guest has made us look at ourselves and laugh at ourselves in an array of films from Robin Hood Men in Tights to Getting In, The Nutty Professor, Con Air, Half-Baked, You've Got Mail, Blue Streak, and Undercover Brother. In television, he has brought his unique, hilarious perspective to Def Comedy Jam, Comic Relief, frequent guest appearances wherever comedy counts, and in his live concert performances, Killing Them Softly, For What It's Worth, and Dave Chappelle's Block Party. The groundbreaking show that bears his name has been honored with Emmy and Image Award nominations and broken every record for DVD sales of a television show. The Actors Studio is very proud to welcome Dave Chappelle.
Everybody's waiting to see how crazy I am. Huh? That's good.
For 11 and a half years, my job on this stage has been to trace for our students the journey that has resulted in the artist in that chair at this moment. It begins always logically at the beginning.
I'm sorry for
What
laughing.
you didn't know is that I'm really funny. He appreciates me. Sometimes you don't. He does. Oh. Where were you born, Dave?
Washington, D.C.
What's your father's name?
William David Chappelle.
And your mother's?
Yvonne Reed Chappelle.
What were they doing in Washington when you were born? How did you happen to be there?
I have no idea. I know sex was involved. And then somehow, no, I'm just kidding. What were my, you know, it's funny. My mom and my dad are very educated people. My dad was doing some corporate. I think he was doing statistics.
In the course of this series, we've constructed an honor roll of impressive mothers. My research has indicated to me that your mother belongs in that number.
She's gonna love this.
But I think she deserves that.
I do too.
What's her educational background?
She's got a master's in divinity, a PhD in African American studies, and something else about some sociology. She's got a stack of degrees in the house somewhere.
Didn't she have a career in the Congo when Patrice Lumumba?
Yes, she worked for Lumumba. He hired her himself, and she worked there during the Civil War. She was there when he was assassinated.
What did your mother do when she returned to the United States?
She opened the Belinga Center at the Central State University.
This was in Ohio.
Yeah, in Ohio.
My research indicates that she established what may have been the first PhD program in black studies in 1974.
Yeah.
She was a pioneer.
Yeah, she was, and in a lot of ways, I think she still is.
You may know or may not know, she taught Lingala.
That I didn't know.
It's a Congo language. She taught it at Central State University. Did she share any of her linguistic gifts with you?
I barely speak English.
Your father also had an academic career.
Yes.
Where did he teach?
Antioch College. It's in Yellow Springs, Ohio. It's a real, hippie town.
It's a hippie college.
It's the hippie college.
Yes, it is.
Antioch, if you'll remember, is the school that had the sex policy. Ask every step of the way. May I kiss your breast?
Did you have any siblings?
I have two. I have a brother and a sister.
Where'd you go to elementary school?
Woodland Elementary, Silver Spring, Maryland.
With an academic environment at home, how did you do in elementary school?
Very poorly.
Why?
I never liked school from the first day. I just walked in there and said, I hate this place. I hate its guts. I hated school. And I know it's not good to say to students, but the way my mom introduced me to school was kind of traumatic, because she didn't tell me I was going. She's packing a lunchbox and all this stuff was happening, and I thought we was going for a walk. And then we walked into school, and she was like, I'm bouncing. I was just in there. And I cried, man, I cried. And these kids were just so mean and evil. I don't know if people remember their first day of kindergarten, but it was like, I felt like all these kids had met each other before, and I was the only one that didn't know anybody. And I got in a fight. This kid, I still remember his name, Paul. We were coloring it. He was coloring corn green. That really bugged me. And I told him that corn was yellow, and he started hitting me, and I was like, this is the coldest shit that's ever happened to me in my life. It was just like instantly life had changed.
So color was already an issue.
Color was an issue. You guys very good?
Did television play a role in your life when you were a kid?
I watched an incredible amount of television. Before I could tell time from a clock, I would tell it from a television. That I could turn on the TV and say, oh, this is on, it's 7:30. I watched so much TV, man. I was always like a escapist.
Yeah.
You know, I was the odd kid out. Like, I didn't tell you this about my first day in kindergarten. I peed in the nap time. I peed, which instantly set me apart from everybody. Like, you can't do that. Right. But we were having juice. It got so good to me, and then I wasn't. And my older brother was like freakishly good-looking dude, you know. Me, I mean, I'm all right. But, you know, everyone in my family was light-complected, except for me. And I'm telling you, from a young age, I noticed people were treating me different. But I didn't understand why they would treat me different.
Yeah.
And I do believe to this day that that had something to do with it. Excuse me.
One of the things you're not allowed to do on this show is to fake tears.
All right, I'm sorry.
This is inside the actor's studio. We don't fake tears here. It's still fake. What middle school did you go to, Dave?
Arthur E. Morgan Middle School, which no longer exists. And that's in Yellow Springs. It was, I guess, right after my last year in elementary school. My mom moved us, like before we lived right on the outskirts of Washington, on the dividing line.
Yeah.
Then Mom moved us in the Northwest. We moved to D.C., man, and it was like the neighborhood was wild, and I was just at that age where I would want to start running the streets,
Right.
so to speak. So my mom sent my brother and I to live with my father in Yellow Springs.
I see.
4,500 people. Maybe now there's like 3,700 people in that town. So,
And all of them slightly different from the rest of the United States.
yeah. I mean, you know, it's a hippie town. My dad at the time was involved in some like human rights group that was dedicated to ending racism. But it's a small town, so racism is a relative term. Hating black people would mean I hate like 25 people in this town. You know what I mean?
How old were you when your parents separated?
My parents split up when I was 2. And I don't remember them married.
What high school did you attend in Washington?
Duke Ellington School of the Arts. Well, first I went to Eastern High School for half of a school year. I transferred to Duke Ellington. See, this is the thing. When I came back from Ohio, like I left when I was like 10, almost 11. I came back when I was 13, going on 14. While I was gone, crack had come out. So I got like a before and after. It was like a crack bomb had gone off. Like DC during the crack epidemic was probably one of the worst cities in America. Definitely was the murder capital. My freshman year of high school, 560 kids my age murdered. It's heavy, man, you know. Everybody I knew sold cracks. Only God knows how many people were smoking crack. And that made a real big impression on me. That and the fact that D.C. is a very segregated city, especially at that time. Statistically speaking, to this day, statistically speaking, there's not one poor white person in Washington. There's a lot of poor black people in Washington. So these are the things that I'm seeing, and I didn't like that shit, man. I didn't like going to Eastern. So I was going through a real tough time, man, like just readjusting. And my mom bought me this Time magazine with Bill Cosby on the cover, Cosby Inc. Me and the guy had a lot of stuff in common, like some of the quotes he would say. And I just remember, like after reading that stuff, I put it down, and it was like, I'm gonna be a comedian. And man, I'm telling you, I could see it so clearly. So clearly, man. This is it. I was so excited, I told my family, I have an announcement to make, I'm gonna be a comedian. You know, it was like real. Because I was always funny. I'm the youngest kid. You know, the youngest kid in the family usually plays that role of the tension breaker.
Right.
I was that dude. And that's when my mom suggested that maybe I go to a comedy club and check it out. Live comedy is the most incredible thing in the world to me. Like the first time you see a dude just standing there talking, and every joke he was saying just hitting, it was working. Every weekend I would go, I'd get a little money, and to the point they started knowing me, I'd just sit in the crowd and I'd just be watching. And then on Tuesdays they had an open mic, and I go on Tuesday to see why people weren't working. Weekends were to see why people were working. Tuesday I was figuring out what's wrong with these people. To watch a comedian bomb is one of the greatest things in the world. I love it. And then at that point, I was talking to a comedian after one of the shows, and the owner of the comedy club, and they were both saying, you know, if you want to be a good comedian, you got to take acting classes. And they didn't explain it. But after that, I went home and I said, Mom, I got to take acting classes. And that's how the Duke Ellington thing started.
That's a school of the arts, right?
Yeah.
And what did you study there?
Theater. The school is incredible. Classical acting, modern acting, improvisation, technical theater, script analysis, script writing.
Did you work while you were in school in Washington?
Yeah, okay. Let's run down the list. My first job, summer, between 87 and 88 school year.
This is a tradition. The first person in the 11 and a half years of this series who ever smoked on stage was Sean Penn, and the students applauded him then. Tonight, you light up a cigarette, the students say, what do you got about cigarettes? You like cigarettes? They applaud when you smoke.
I don't know about y'all, but this shit is stressing me out. I feel like I'm confessing and stuff. Does everything feel like I'm on trial in this one? Tell me about that thing. I mean, you know, I don't know. I was a child and it's all so wild, Mr. Lipton. All right, so, the first job, and remember, this is when people were making a lot of money selling drugs. $3.50 an hour, August I had to dress up in a cookie costume, not bullshitting, a cookie costume with chocolate chips and a big chocolate chip on my head, sweating, and I had to hand out flyers for this place called the Cookie Bag. When I started at Duke Ellington, it was like you go to school from 8 o'clock in the morning till at least 5 o'clock at night. So work stopped for a while. And then, you know, that nightclub thing kicked in.
Was your early comedy autobiographical?
Still don't talk about myself.
It isn't.
It's yes, but never directly. I don't want to give away my secret recipe. But originally my plan was I'll go to school, and then after I graduate, I'll start stand-up. But then I was like, I'm going to the club after school. It's Tuesday, so I'm going to go to that open mic night. I had been practicing with the candlestick in the mirror. I felt like I was ready. And I told my family I was going. Told my mom, you know, I'm going. I don't want you to come. I want to go by myself. It's something I got to do, and whatever. So, of course, she shows up with my grandmother and my brother. The MC introduced me. I can remember the introduction. You know, folks, everybody's got to start sometime, and tonight is this young man's first time on stage. Who knows? Exactly what it says. Who knows? You may be witnessing the birth of a star. Please welcome Dave Chappelle. And I went up there, man, and I was scared. And I used to look at my feet when I started. And I said the first joke, looking down at my feet, and they laughed. And then I looked up, like, holy. And then I looked back down at my feet and said, no. And after the set, you know, the crowd was going crazy. I think I did 2.5 minutes, but they were going crazy. I was 14, probably looked like I was 11. Jesus. I was telling jokes about Jesse Jackson running for president, and Alf's spaceship landing in a black neighborhood. Because before I got on, I was scared, and I told my grandmother, like, you might hear me say some things that you might not want to hear your grandson say. And she said, just relax and do that shit. I said, whoa, I never heard it come. So it went great. And then here's the kicker. So then I go to school the next day, you know, feeling like $1 million. And I go and I'm telling all the kids at school, guess what I did last night? Comedy club. Ripped, the crowd was going crazy, you know. And you know what they said? Cool. And it was the beginning of a dual life. By day, I was Clark Kent. And at night, I was Superman. You know, pretty girl in school might look at me and be like, oh, Dave, he's so funny, but I wouldn't date him. But at night, I'd date women your mother's age if I wanted.
Did you move to New York to do some stuff?
Yeah. I said, I'm going to go to that Apollo and rip that mug. I went for the regular Wednesday amateur night. When I say I got booed off stage, God. I still remember that boo. I'd never been booed off stage before, but I just remember looking out and seeing like everybody booing, everybody. Even old people, I was like, who boos a child pursuing his dreams? Like, this is the meanest crowd in the world. And that siren went off, and that dude comes out tap dancing.
Sandman.
Sandman. I wanted to choke the shit out. I hate you. I was like, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Wow. Best thing, because before that time, I had never bombed, let alone got booed off stage. And bombing was horrifying. Nobody wants to bomb. Nobody, you know, when people say you do comedy, what happens if nobody laughs? I don't know. So that night was liberating because I failed so far beyond my wildest nightmares of failing that it was like, hey, they're all booing. My friends are here watching, my mom. This is not that bad. And after that, I was fearless. To get into the New York comedy circuit is a very closed circuit. And I got in all these clubs in like a week, 2 weeks. Like, that's just reputation. Have you seen this kid? Have you seen this kid? I was like that dude.
How old were you when you made your first TV development deal?
19. My mother and my grandmother were freaked out. You know, I was the first person in my family not to go to college that had not been a slave.
Right.
So I was really breaking from tradition, and it was like a graduation lunch we were having, and they had my dad come and talk to me, and my dad takes me outside, and he's like, listen, and this is some advice that applies to all you acting students. He says, to be an actor is a lonely life. Everybody wants to make it, and you might not make it. And I said to my dad, well, that depends on what making it is, Dad. He was a smart ass kid.
Yeah.
It depends on what making it is, Dad. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you're a teacher. I said, if I can make a teacher salary doing comedy, I think that's better than being a teacher. And he started laughing. He said, if you keep that attitude, I think you should go. He said, but name your price in the beginning. If it ever gets more expensive than the price you name, get out of there. Mm-hmm. Thus, Africa. Oh, man. Yeah, you guys are going to learn a lot tonight.
What can they learn?
You know, like you guys are students now, so you're idealists, but you don't know about where art and corporate interests meet yet. Just prepare to have your heart broken. Like, in a way, you see him laughing, that evil laugh? Because he knows, man, and everybody laughs at me, but just get your Africa tickets ready, baby, because it's coming. It's coming. You have no idea. The first pilot I did was called I'm the Man, and it didn't get picked up. It was real painful because I had experienced nothing but success. Took it like a bitch, man. I was really upset. And that's when I started smoking that weed, man. It just made me feel better, man. I'm not trying to tell kids to do that. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't tell anybody to do it, but that's how I dealt with my problems. And at the time, it was working out great, baby. I was smoking that weed. I'm just being real, you know. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of white kids, you got things accessible to you like therapy. We don't have that. We have liquor stores and weed.
You've called The Nutty Professor one of your favorite film assignments. Why?
I just remember the first day at work, and I'm walking on the set, and this fat dude comes up like, hey, man, you're real funny. I'm like, thanks. Oh, yeah, Eddie Murphy. He had that makeup on, and he knew my jokes. He started telling obscure jokes I did, like he knew them. And every day we would do takes, man. I mean, somewhere this footage exists. And when they say cut, I mean, those extras would be cheering. I mean, it was like me and Eddie we would dance. And Eddie would drop these jewels on me, you know, when we're working. He's a real wise dude. Seen a lot of Eddie Murphy. And he was the guy that was like, you got to start writing. He was like, the way you tell jokes, you think in pictures, and you can write. You should start doing it. And that was the big Nutty Professor breakthrough.
In The Nutty Professor, Dave plays a severely manic comic named Reggie Warrington, who uses his comic skills to humiliate Eddie Murphy as the hapless Sherman Klump. A lesson for this evening: comedy can be cruel.
Yeah. Somewhere there's a black professor watching this like buffoonery. But that made me laugh saying that, because I remember when I said who's titties land, and Eddie was like doing the Sherman, and he was drinking, and then I said it, and water shot out of his nose. And he said, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting that. And that was the best feeling, like, to make Eddie Murphy break characters was very, to this day, man, forget the Emmy nomination, that was the best.
Who wrote Half Baked?
It was me and Neil and Purple Haze.
Tell us about that writing process. How did you guys work?
I can't remember. I was high, man. I was high. The night before we had these series of pitch meetings, we were like, man, we don't have a story. And at the time, you know, I drank a little beer, so we drank some beer. Neil doesn't smoke weed. I smoked me some weed. And suddenly, we had this story, this weird story about killing a police horse and needing to raise money. And it was really weird the way it happened, man. But it was really inspired, Half-Baked. I liked smoking weed so much that I thought I should make a movie about this. And it was inspired, man. It was like, you know, it was inspired. When that script came out, me and Neil, we were hot as a pistol for a week. The script was way better than the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that script was dope.
Dave, who do you play in the movie?
Huh? I played Thurgood Jenkins.
Thurgood Jenkins.
Yes.
But that's only half the story. Who else do you play in the movie?
Oh, I played Sir Smoke-A-Lot.
One of my favorite scenes is the one that involves both Thurgood and Sir Smoke-A-Lot.
It's very embarrassing, homie.
I think it's a remarkable piece of acting. That's why I wanted to play it.
I'm sorry, man. For me, it's a little surreal being on the actor studio and just to see you like, and then you did Half-Baked.
When Martin Lawrence was in that chair, we talked about Blue Streak.
I love that dude.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, what's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever. And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. Oh, I'm dropping dimes tonight. I've had a long year, Mr. Lipton.
We're on our way. What did you mean, Dave, when you described your father's death in 1998 as the beginning of a terrible decline?
I was 23 when I was doing Half-Baked. I was getting ready to turn 24. And I was going through all the things that a dude goes through when it goes from one level to the next. I was starring in a movie that I wrote. So things start getting crazy around you.
Yeah.
And my 24th birthday was coming on August the 24th, and I said, this is going to be a big one. And the morning that I turned 24, phone rang, and my sister was like, Dad had a stroke. For the next year, I watched my father teeter on life and death. And it was just all this stuff, man. Like Dad was dying, the half-baked didn't come out the way I wanted it to come out. I was real upset about that. Because it was a real cool script, and then I saw it, I was like, hey, man, you made a weed movie for kids. And it wasn't for kids, the script, you know. It was all these things, so much pressure. Africa. Then I was in Ohio. I get a call on my cell phone from Hollywood. I'm like, hello, Hollywood. They're like, hello, Dave. They're like, that pilot you did for Fox, looks like they want to pick it up. We need you to come out because they want to meet with you. And I was like, well, listen, I can't really come out right now. Got a real bad situation at home. Can we talk about this on the phone? No, they would rather meet with you in person. But you know, like the horror that they turned us into, I jumped on that plane and left my father's bedside, which I regret to this day. And I went out and I sat with these people in this room. And if you can imagine a large circle of people, and I was 12 o'clock, the black dude. Yeah, Dave, we really liked the show, but the pilot episode was about me getting booed off stage at the Apollo. They go, you know, but what are you going to do about it? I mean, there's not really any white people in it. So, well, it's about the Apollo. It's not really white. Well, you know, we were thinking about the girl on the show. We didn't think she was that funny, not that good looking. I think we should recast her, maybe. And they start using terms like universal appeal. Basically saying they want me to recast the girl with a white woman. I say, yeah, I don't think I can do this, and I quit. On the cover of Variety, Chappelle pulls the race card. The race card. And I get calls from Newsweek, 60 Minutes. Everybody, we want your story. Now I'm scared to death. I'm like Rosa Parks or something. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I was just venting a little bit. And then, a few months later, Dad dies. And that's hard for a young dude in his life. That's a real tough loss. I was there when he died. And he went from being my father to what are we going to do with the body? Within moments, it was over. And I'm going through all this stuff, and this is the guy I would usually talk to, right? Dad. And I got to figure this out for myself. I don't want to figure this out for myself. You know, I was beat down. I wasn't living right. You know what I mean? Like, the weed thing was just a bad habit at this point, and you know what I mean? All these, you know, chicken head girls you mess with when it comes with the territory. I'm just being real. Just being real. Just wasn't living right, man. I didn't feel good. And the stand-up stuff was just some angry stuff. It was just like I was kind of bottoming out. But when my dad died, because I've been commuting back and forth to Ohio so much, that's when I bought the farm, which I called the you Hollywood farm.
Did you stay in Yellow Springs for a while?
I live there to this day. I live there to this day. I'm raising my kids there. Look, man, at that point in your life, it's something so real in contrast to what Hollywood is, a very powerful illusion. And when your dad died, it kind of just broke the spell, like, oh, this is bullshit. Look, I've been spending so much time doing this. What about my family? What about my friends? Wait, whatever happened to my friends? Damn, I don't even have any friends. Ugh. So I bounced, man. New Year's Eve, 1999, I moved into that farm, and that was it. As far as I was concerned, I was done with show business.
The comedians I've worked with over the years often don't laugh at jokes. Can you be amused by your own work, by other people's work?
I love my jokes.
Good.
Some jokes, like, you know, I got this real immature streak where I write a lot of scatological humor.
So I've heard.
You know, but a good joke will just never, they last, they hold up. I just like having fun. When I'm on stage, I get real happy up there. Like, maybe that's the only time in my adult life that I feel like myself. You're standing up there, you know what I mean? Like a gladiator, and them lights is on you, and you look down, and everyone's looking up at you like, and it's just all these smiles around you, and they get dressed, and they put perfume on and stuff, and they're going to see your show. That feels good, man. These people, you know, they love you. Even if it's for a minute, they really do, they love you, man, you know. It's like it's a love fest.
Good feeling.
Yeah, it's the best feeling, man. I love stand-up.
In 2000, you taped a concert for HBO
Yes.
called Killing 'Em Softly.
Killing them softly.
To borrow a comedian's term of art, Dave killed in that concert. The setup for this is that his limo driver says he's got to stop somewhere. So he stops in the ghetto. And it's Dave in the ghetto in a limo.
Yes.
Huh?
He gets it. He gets it. That's it.
But the thing is that you do exactly what a honky would do in the ghetto. You lock the doors,
exactly
right? So you have ambivalent feelings. You're drawn to it, and you're.
And I'm afraid. Listen, man. Black people don't like the ghetto.
Like you and me, you mean?
Yeah. Nobody wants to live in the ghetto, but the joke is so dope. Man, I got.
All power and glory go to God. All greatness is from God. When a hero stumbles, well, the cowards rejoice. Nothing feels better to a coward than to watch a brave guy fall. Now, you guys might have seen in the news that I caught coronavirus recently, and I did. Whoops. I did. Because in the beginning of the pandemic, I talked to a guy in the live entertainment business, and I said, when can we go back to work? He said, probably sometime in 2022. And I said, there's no fucking way I can wait that long. And I just tried to find a way that I could work. You see what we've been doing. All of you who had to endure this invasive test and wear these masks just so we could be out and hang out and be together. I tried. And after all these months, after doing all these shows, God damn it, my number was up, and then I had the Rona. Oh. Cowards rejoice at a time like this because they're so invested in being afraid. And when I said I had the coronavirus, the overwhelming majority of people wished me well. Said, we hope you get better, take care of yourself. We don't want anything bad to happen to you. But there was a faction of people, the cowards, who said, you see that, Dave Chappelle? That's why we stay inside where it's safe, and we never try anything. Well, enjoy yourselves, motherfuckers, because I'm better now. Years ago, a man named Edward Snowden came to notoriety. Do you remember him? Edward Snowden was a whistleblower. How people feel about him is a split decision. Is he good or is he bad? Was he right or was he wrong? I don't know. What he did was he detailed a government program where our government, the United States government, was spying on its own citizens. And when he did that, people didn't really care. If you remember at that time, we were prosecuting a war on terror, and my God, what if these terrorists are living amongst us? We have to do something if they spy on some of us. I mean, who has anything to hide? Remember that. Years later, after Michael Brown got killed and riots broke out in American cities and Ferguson and all these places, you heard black Americans saying they're militarizing our police departments, and no one cared. Because the unrest was so uncomfortable and so daunting, and, well, these Negroes look so angry. Nobody said anything. Remember that. On January 6th, well, American citizens stormed the Capitol. You know, I'm from Washington, D.C. A lot of my friends growing up are Capitol Hill police officers. I said, what did you do that day? What did we do? We were kicking crackers down the steps like motherfucking 300, nigga. Trying to save our country. Watch the tapes. Watch that crowd that told Colin Kaepernick he can't kneel during a football game, try to beat a police officer to death with an American flag. Look at that shit. Take that nigga lesson. Take this nigga lesson. What was Edward Snowden talking about? Who is the terrorist now that they're looking for? It's you, not me, not my black Muslim ass, it's you. Who are they militarizing the police for? They didn't call the National Guard on my black ass. It's you. That's what white people did. They felt what black people have been feeling for 400 years. For 30 minutes, stormed the Capitol and rubbed their shit on the walls. They carried a fucking Confederate flag through the rotunda. The Confederate Army didn't even do that. Motherfuckers, you went very far. There was a simple question, do you have a country or not? And you said no. My God, man, we're in quite the pickle, aren't we? If you could solve a black American's problems, this country would have no problems. You're so busy talking about pronouns and this, that, and the other, but this is a very basic wrong. They kidnapped us. They brought us here. They treated us like shit, and all the time that they did that, they were afraid that we would do what you would do in the same situation. But did we storm the halls of the Capitol and rub our shit on the walls? Well, of course not. If that would have worked, we would have tried it. I know how to solve my problems. You need to know how to solve your problems. You need to know where your power lies. You are Americans, so your power lies in each other. A few weeks ago, I put a special out. I called it Unforgiven. I told people what my beef was with Comedy Central. I never talked about it. I demanded that the network pay me. Many of my peers laughed at me because that's a ridiculous thing to demand. They said, well, you signed the contract, so what are you even mad about? Here's the thing. I'm very good at minding my own business. And the trick to minding your own business is knowing what is your business. And these people that talk about me, these cowards that rejoice, well, they don't understand what greatness looks like. I never asked Comedy Central for anything. If you remember, I said, I'm going to my real boss, and I came to you because I know where my power lies. I asked you to stop watching the show, and thank God Almighty for you, you did. You made that show worthless because without your eyes, it's nothing. And when you stopped watching it, they called me, and I got my name back, and I got my license back, and I got my show back, and they paid me millions of dollars. Thank you very much. When I took 12 years off and you put me right back on top when I came back, I couldn't thank you enough. You have kept me free. I have not had to do what so many of my colleagues have to do because of you. I have no idea what dicks taste like. This is a very important moment. I want to thank Ted Sarandos at Netflix, a CEO who had the courage to take my show off its platform at financial detriment to his company just because I asked him. And I want to thank Chris McCarthy of CBS Viacom. This guy is younger than me, and like most people younger than me, has an interest in making the past right, and did something that was very courageous. And finally, after all these years, I can finally say to Comedy Central, it's been a pleasure doing business with you. Cheers to you forever. I'm rocking with you till the wheels fall off. Thank you very much, and good night.
Shay.